What's going on in the IPF? Because I'm behind on that news.
They're idiots. So
he reaches for his phone.
I saw the slide.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about the IPF, but I saw the slide and I said, these morons, these idiots, I can't believe that they didn't have at least one woman in charge to look at this slide.
it and be like,
Oh, was it that slide that we're
yes,
talking
the one,
about?
the one that everyone's been making a meme about.
Okay.
But then I started reading and it's like a woman was one to brief the slide.
Really?
Yeah,
I am shocked.
There's a woman's name on it. Yeah, I obviously don't remember who, but I was just like, oh, well, that's like even dumber.
I'm going to have to try and pull it up so we can read it word verbatim.
I thought it was strictly just a meme, and I just
No,
glanced over it.
They
like,
did that. They said,
Okay. I got it pulled up. So let me just go ahead and read it for the audience. How should a coach treat a female athlete? Be careful with her emotions. Give her special motivation. Mostly females have very high level of responsibility, so don't tell her the accurate planned weights for the training. Win her trust.
yeah,
Those
I like
are
that,
their bullet points.
I like that win her trust came directly after completely
Lie to her.
gaslight and mislead her about what she's doing.
I'll be honest. Coach's opinion here: women don't want to be treated any fucking different than anybody else.
The only difference that I've noticed is that if you plan them more achievable goals, they're more likely to overachieve.
That's very dependent on the woman, but
That's fair.
I don't completely disagree with that.
That's just from what I've seen.
In general, they tend to be more conservative than us in the gym. So.
Yeah.
And I guess we are talking about the IPF, so the performance enhancing drugs don't come as much into the conversation. But let's be honest, they do, because everybody knows that people in the IPF are on just as much as everybody else is. But I mean, if you want to talk about like people that are more sensitive or more apt to respond with emotion, like guys that are on a lot of juice,
Yeah, they
are
like,
probably worse than like any woman that I've ever met.
I'll tell you this. I say this kind of a little bit tongue in cheek, but it's pretty serious too. In general, women are more coachable. They respond to cues better. And I'm not singling out YouTube by any means, but like men always think they know something you don't.
yeah.
There's always, unless they're just a complete and total gym virgin and just like first time in the gym, like they always know something you don't. They're always going to push back, always going to have some fight about them, everything like that. And then in general, women are just a lot more coachable.
Yeah.
I can't lie. I mean, they respond to criticism better. They respond to,
That's woman. I'll tell you right now, that's woman to woman.
I mean, coaching criticisms.
Right.
Was,
And coaching criticism. Maybe it depends on who it comes from.
yeah, when you're coaching your significant other,
It's a little more challenging.
Me and Sandy have a strict rule of I'll get her opinions about things, but we don't cue each other.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think that you can I think it's easy to write a program, for your significant other, but as far as actual coaching, it gets into the, why are you telling me what to do right now?
Right,
you didn't even do the dishes last
but,
night.
I don't know. I feel like, obviously winning somebody's trust is important.
Right.
Like,
That goes
And
for
I'm not-
anyone.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
not
that
now
might be
selling
the only
anybody.
bullet that I agree with on the entire slide that they put out. That it
I
is
mean, you
important to win their
do
trust.
that, by
By ignoring the other three bullets that they put on the slide.
instituting a plan that works.
Yep.
I like a collaborative effort, so I like people to know what they're going to do, when they're going to do it, and I want them to have an opinion about it.
Right.
And also being reliable,
Absolutely, yeah.
as a coach, like being there for them when they need something.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, and as Zach, one of your clients, I think that is the thing that keeps us as a good team is that, I can send you a text and be like, dude, I'm just not feeling it today. Like, this sucks, and 250 feels really heavy today, so I'm just doing 2 plates. And you'll say, that's cool, because you trust me, and you know that I know my body, and I trust you enough that I'm at least going to give you a heads up and say, hey, is this okay?
Yeah.
Because I know that you have like the larger picture in mind. So, I trust you enough to say like, I'm going to be honest with you. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? And if you come back and you have before, you said like, I'm really going to need you to push today.
Yeah.
Like, then I'm like, fuck. Okay. but there's also days that you're like, dude, I get it. Just do what you can today. And that I think builds that trust.
The work that you do is better than the work that you don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Always. I don't know. That's a really stupid take on their part. And it's like, it's
really bad.
It's honestly kind of fucking demeaning. And I know they were very much trying to do the opposite of that, but it's kind of like, hey, women are a little dumb.
Yeah, just
when they're trusting, but lie to them. That's kind of what it comes across as for sure.
So I just got my CPT like a little over a year ago, and it's mind blowing to me to teach coaches to lie to their clients. I mean, it is completely against anything that I've ever learned about coaching or leadership in general. I mean, I was an officer in the military. Like, you don't lie to people that trust you to give them guidance. You could there's some things that you might not want to tell them, but you're absolutely not going to just say, like, I'm not telling you the accurate weights and I'm going to give you inaccurate weights for training. That's absurd.
Yeah.
And not to mention, man, that's something that coaching is something that's very individual and that individual to the point that it 100% transcends gender.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
it's all personality based. You might have experience with a similar personality and be like, oh, well, I've dealt with this before, so I know kind of how to approach this. But gender wise,
yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there was a couple women that whoever created that slide coach that that worked for them, and maybe that works for some people, but.
All I know is all the female lifters that I follow that have shared that have had very negative things to say about it. Specifically, they said, "Don't call me a female ever.
Just lie to women.
Just lie to women.
Just lie. To
IPF new standard. Lie to women."
That's at least so far they're not killing anybody.
That's true. That's true. Back to what we were going to talk about on my last one. That I had to cancel, but at least they didn't say put volunteer lifeguards with no formal training out to save people's lives on a swim that they did after becoming exhausted on a long run under a heat
one
advisory.
Of the best swimmers in the field too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they just were like, he didn't show up. He's probably somewhere back there.
And they kept going, and then after, I mean, it wasn't really until there was a huge outcry that they decided to cancel the next day,
but they didn't cancel the next day.
Then they didn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say they went.
They put out that they were going to, and then more people were like, "It's too late now." Like
there was the head guy, I forget his name,
Castro.
Him and I think it was a woman was with him and went to. It was either like his best friend or his brother. It was his brother. And they were like, "Hey, we're going to continue the games. We want your blessing." He said, "No."
Right.
And they were like, "Well, we're going to continue anyway." Yeah. It's like, what the fuck?
The actual quote from Dave Castro was, "Well, it's not really your choice, is it?"
Yeah. It's like, bro, how can you be that fucking insensitive? That you just killed that guy's brother.
I mean,
like,
so I mean, my opinion on CrossFit in general is that they exist to keep PT clinics in business. But I mean, they've built a brand on severely injuring, middle-aged housewives.
Yeah.
I mean, across the country, they grab people off the street that don't have any formal Olympic lifting experience, and they tell them to start doing snatches with holding weight above their head. And
these you need a broomstick first.
Yeah, and
that's the way it's supposed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and some some organizations do that. They do it the right way, but there's some, like the guy in Brazil that broke his neck because he dropped an overhead snatch on his neck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a joke even among people that do CrossFit. That they'll joke about it. That people come in and they get injured, and then they go to PT, and then they come back to CrossFit and get injured.
The problem is that they wear it like it's a badge of honor.
And they don't care. Yeah,
I think it's this is so hard that
yeah.
We do this is so extreme that it takes people out like nobody's harder than we are.
Yeah, like it's like a mud run. Like you're not improving people's physical ability just by making them do something hard.
People respond initially really, really well to CrossFit because they come from a sedentary lifestyle, and then the lack of ability to progress is the most disturbing thing about CrossFit outside of it being injury prone in the beginning. But like eventually, though, we all know how peaks and valleys and plateaus work in powerlifting. Same thing works in that sport, but because it's so non-specific, there's really not a lot of opportunity to actually achieve your best. That's the reason why so many CrossFit athletes that are good spend months and months just training strength and don't even, don't even Metcon, because anybody can have a motor in 6 weeks.
Right.
Fighters do it their entire fucking career.
Yep.
Cardio is something that if it's diligently worked on 5 to 7 days a week, you will be able to breathe better and your VO2 max will go up. Like, you can improve that much faster than you can improve
Right.
muscularity.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I mean, you look at some of the, top athletes, they're doing strength training. They might do the WODs also once a day, but they're not doing 60 burpees and then running, 100 meters. And then they're done for the day. Like,
yeah, that's not it.
Sure, they might also be doing that, but they're not just CrossFit athletes. They're strength training. They're doing all kinds of stuff, and
they're fed for it. They're rested for it. It's their career.
Right.
They're not coming in after a 12-hour work day and seeing if they can snatch 225 pounds.
And then, I mean, and if you look at CrossFit, how it started or how it got popularized, it was at military bases and guys that were like in the SF community, guys that were, athletes.
And
for all intents
to that kind of stress.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, they were just athletic human beings. They'd go and it was a competition, and that's why they liked it, because you went in and you were competing with each other for time, for rounds, whatever, and doing hard stuff, and then they're trying to, or have tried to, translate that into a business model that caters to as many people as possible, and you can't have both. You can't be an elite athletic event and be something that your average stay-at-home mom can do after she drops the kids off at school. Like, it's not going to happen. So they're still stuck in this in between of trying to figure out what they are, and what they're doing is they're putting people in the hospital and killing them because they're trying to play both sides.
This is a huge spectator event. They have the money to go hire the people they need.
Absolutely.
To make sure those people are safe. But also, I mean, it raises the question too, if you are a multi-million-dollar business, and we know they're a $1 billion business plus now. I mean, it is what it is. They have all the money they need to, and I know everybody's going to roll their eyes and say this is lame. Should have just been done in a pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
For laps or whatever, but it's a controlled environment. Spectators can see if somebody goes under. Lifeguards can see if somebody goes under. Other competitors can. Like a murky-ass fucking swim after how much ever time spent biking and running too. Fucking irresponsible from the fucking get-go.
I mean, they did everything else in lanes. I mean, everything that I watched that was indoors, all the rounds of deadlifts and burpees and all that stuff was in lanes.
Like,
there's absolutely no reason that they couldn't have done the same thing with swimming.
Not at all. I mean, there's just should have been so easy to just say, hey, and even if it is an outdoor swim like in a lake or something like that, you can still buoy off lanes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You could have done a million different things, you know what I mean? To make that more just easy to see, even if it is an outdoor swim and murky water, like, you're watching, you got 10 lanes, and if you only have 9 athletes, you got a fucking problem. Right.
And it seems like, presuming that this is going to go in the podcast, this is not, Monday morning quarterback stuff. This is stuff that anyone that does any major sporting event or any major event, period, this is a composite risk management issue, and it wasn't handled, period. Like, it's not like, well, anybody can look at that and, say that they would have done this after the fact. Like, no, somebody should have looked at it and said, what could possibly go wrong here, and how can we mitigate those risks? And CrossFit, like you said, is a $1 billion organization. And on top of that, it's full of former military officers. All those military officers have formal training in composite risk management. And anyone with a business degree also does. Somebody had to have raised a flag and said, here are the risks.
Yeah.
Here's how we should mitigate them. And then someone said, it'll look way cooler in a lake. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what happened.
That's what happened. Yeah. I agree with you 100%. Like, no disagreement from me whatsoever. But I mean, we go out of our way to make sure football players are safe, baseball players are safe, basketball players are safe. Every other fucking level of sport, even powerlifting. Even our local events, we keep fucking paramedics on,
right?
On standby to powerlifting meet. Like,
and that's a hobby.
Unsanctioned powerlifting meet at
the garage.
At the garage. I mean, there was a paramedic standing right next to me.
So, I mean, I don't know. It just goes, I don't know. It goes to show their greed.
Yes.
People talk about corporate greed and stuff all the time. Boy, CrossFit's fucking in the middle of that conversation right now.
Yeah.
They're killing their best. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never mind the,
they've
sending people to
upgraded
PT and stuff,
they've just upgraded. And it's ridiculous.
Greedy.
But it's a natural progression from not caring about the safety of these people to now we don't care about the safety of these people either.
I mean, it's if you don't follow, I don't remember his first name, but if you don't follow Hillerfit, HILLER, on Instagram, he's the one that I saw break the news first of all this. But he's a non-natty CrossFitter and very, very good, brilliant mind when it comes to programming. But you should just see all of his former posts about CrossFit programming, how irresponsible it is and how much it sucks in general. And like, they just throw shit at the wall and see if it sticks. Like, there's no fucking rhyme or reason. There's no like, we don't care if you squatted 1 million pounds yesterday. We're fucking doing, lunges and fucking box jumps today after your legs are fucking dead. Like, they throw it together because they want it to look cool.
That's
they want the workout to look cool.
Right.
They don't care about programming.
And that goes back to where they started, when they were catering to the SF community and the Rangers and whoever, military folks, it was like a mud run. It was a hard thing that you get up, you do your regular PT, and then, after work, we all go and do CrossFit, and it's who can do this really hard stuff the fastest. And it was never meant to be a progression type activity. It was like, yeah, this is our gym, but it was, let's do really hard stuff a lot.
What's sad is it's lost.
That's why they do burpees. Burpees are the most inefficient exercise in the entire world.
They're fucking hard on your lungs, though.
And they do hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Because they're just hard. Like, they don't build. What does a burpee do that running can't do? I mean, it's really hard to do, and you can count them. So it's a great thing for CrossFit.
Right, yeah. I agree with you. I mean, their irresponsibility starts from the get-go. I'll tell you that, and then we'll get into the actual show. I've been CrossFit Level 1 certified. And that's one of the most informative and productive weekends you can do in fitness. And I know that sounds like probably a surprising answer coming from me. I think Nathan's probably heard me say it before. But that's actually a really good, really thought out, well executed weekend. You really do learn a lot. It's really, really good. And then you go get certified and you get into your, local box gym to coach on Monday. And then the owner's like, forget everything you learned this weekend. It doesn't matter. Like, another example of that is the kipping pull-ups and butterfly pull-ups that they do. If you go to CrossFit Level 1, they'll tell you need 5 strict pull-ups before you start kipping, even in a band. Before you start kipping, you need to be able to do 5 strict bodyweight pull-ups. Cool. You think they ever do that? No, they're immediately like, let's get you your first pull-up. First day on the job. Let's go fucking put you in a band and get you a kipping pull-up so you can say you did a pull-up. Like, that's bad for your fucking shoulders. It's bad for, there's so many things it's fucking bad for. But like, that's their mentality. It's always run when you got sedentary people that can't even fucking walk.
Right.
It's insane to me. I don't know how it got so far off from what they actually teach, to be honest with you. It's so wildly fucking different. From the education standpoint to the actual community standpoint are worlds apart. Or like, it's like 2 different fucking schools of thought altogether. It's like they just fucking forget what they were taught that weekend. It's nuts. So,
one last thing before we go into the show. Do you guys see the WRPF email?
They came late.
Yes.
It came about well, here's the thing.
Are they going to continue in America? Is that pretty much what that was about?
This is my interpretation of it. First and foremost, they didn't have a staff for like 2 weeks, so they couldn't send out an email because there was nobody to send out an email. And Kern wasn't going to send out an email. Yeah. He's too busy to do that shit, right? A few weeks later, we finally get this email. They basically said, we appreciate, like, we enjoyed supporting the amateur powerlifting world, but now we're only going to focus on the professional level powerlifting. So basically, they're just going to do like a handful of pro meets, is what I'm assuming. So you're going to pay for a membership to WRPF to do like only pro meets if you're going to pay for a membership.
Right. And who would do that? That's
and
not
who's,
a pro.
The only people that are going to sign up for it are people who can win money. So John Hack will probably be there.
Yeah.
And
all that just to give your money to the same
John
guy
Hack.
you always give.
Yeah, I'm not really keen on just paying John Hack my money every year. So.
Also, Kern, you're paying him money too,
Yeah,
and the staff and the production team, and that was another thing they said. They wanted the production to be this huge, grandiose thing. So we'll see if they're trying to like make more like American Pro but bigger, like because obviously they're not going to just make American Pro the sequel.
If John Hack's competing 198, then I might go just so he can personally beat me.
Right?
I'd pay for that.
That's I was talking to I think Zach Dion. We had him on 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And he was talking about he met Dan Bell just recently, shook his hand, took a picture with him, stuff. I was like, that's really cool. And he was like, yeah. I was like, I would like to qualify for like the Ghost or the American Pro just to be able to like see John Hack and shake his hand and be like, hey, what's up, dude? Like, like that'd just be cool. Just to be like in the same, if one day, maybe far in the future, to be in the same flight as John Hack. That would be like, that would be super cool.
Well, if you're in the same flight as Hack, you've arrived.
Right? Like that's that's like the goal. Like,
nobody beats him. So like just being in the same flight's probably enough.
Well, if Colton swaps
Comes
to
out of wraps.
sleeves, he's the only guy that could do it. My opinion. Well, Juwan's getting close too.
Juwan's hometown hero. I can't not root for Juwan.
Juwan, I mean, he's got a good dots, man. Like what did he total this past time? Like 20? Was it 2,200?
Something like that. Yep.
At 181, like
he's possibility of snapping him pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. I'll be honest with you, he's a 220 now. He's too muscular to be 198 anymore. Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be able to cut to 198.
He's not. He's huge.
If he's gonna stay 220 and he keeps on putting on weight, he's gonna take Joe Sullivan's squat record.
Yeah, I mean
850.1.
I think to that point though, gaining weight's probably the only way for his squat to come up.
That's what Joe said.
He's
too.
at his genetic limit at 198.
Yeah.
I mean, it's he lifts twice what I do.
He's also just
it's
a wall of muscle.
Right.
Like
and he's not much taller than me. And I used to look at him when he was.
I thought he was about my height.
No, he's
that makes a little more sense.
He's about my height, but he weighed the same as me. And I was looking, I was like, how are you that wide?
Right?
Like, are your bones hollow? Like, how can you weigh 198 and look like that?
An aluminum skeleton.
Instead of adamantium, he's aluminum. He's held together strictly by his muscles.
It's crazy.
It is pretty nuts. I don't root for anybody. I'm not rooting for his downfall, but
Underdog stories.
the first man that beats him is going to be a fucking legend.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. It'll be
because it'll be his
that
first.
That person's going to be a goddamn legend.
It'll be his first loss in years because I don't think he's lost.
I mean, hell, we've watched him go 4 for 9 and win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of fucking nuts. John Hack consumes entirely too much airtime around here. Well, that's the show before the show.
Yep.
Welcome to this.
You almost did it. Almost did it.
I did. You
it was in your brain.
It was in my brain. Welcome to the Sip It and Rip It podcast. I'm Zach. He's Nathan. You can follow us at Coleman_barbell, at Nathan Skedios, at Sip It and Rip It. And we have Lance McLaughlin on. You can follow him at.
Yes, it's Lance. I don't remember if I have underscores or not. Just look
I think
for
you
Lance.
do, but somewhere in there.
Yeah.
May end in an underscore. Why do I feel like it ends in an underscore?
I don't know. I feel like there is an underscore somewhere in there.
There's 2. It's yes_it's_Lance.
There you go.
There we go. Yep. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like, comment, leave us 5 stars.
Share the show.
Share the show.
Don't be a
hoe. Share the show. Yep. Speaking of, that guy got caught in some controversy this week.
He did.
He sure as shit did. It was probably due. I can't lie to you.
Goob covered it.
Yeah.
But I wish I could remember exactly what he said.
He
but
immediately said, hey, I was a fucking dickhead.
Yeah. And so he was kind of like, Goob was like, he immediately noted that it was wrong, so I don't have any issues with it. And I kind of agree. Like if he came out and was like, "Hey, I fucked up.
And
Like, my bad."
And
nobody does that. Like literally, we haven't seen anybody apologize for fucking up.
Not to Goob.
It's like
Just in general, like
yeah.
big
That's
organizations.
it didn't
like,
help either.
yeah.
The political climate, regardless of lean, is once you fucked up, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, there's no like people are merciless about it. Like you can't apologize or can't act like you've changed. Like that's who you are now.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe that's why people don't. Like maybe that's why people just lean into it. They're like, yeah, I did that. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, it's always good to see a professional like that apologize.
Yeah.
Though.
Because it just doesn't happen enough.
It doesn't. No, that guy does a lot for the sports world and a lot for the fitness world, and I just don't.
Yeah, I mean, he gave a sponsorship, a first form sponsorship to that bodybuilder that got screwed out of winning his show and a bunch of money.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, dude. He gives people in fitness and in politics, regardless of lean, space to talk about and be themselves and everything like that. Like
Right.
he really does a good job making sure people are heard.
Yeah.
Whether he agrees with them or not doesn't matter, but he does a good job making sure people are heard. So still sucks.
Yeah, it still
Yeah, it
sucks.
still sucks to see somebody like that do that. But yeah,
But we're all
Yeah.
human. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, that's
I fucked up last week.
something. Well, it is what it is, I suppose.
It got censored.
It got censored.
It got censored, but I fucked up last week. So.
Oh,
remember
last week
that?
on the show, yeah absolutely. Yeah, fuck, I was trying
I got a message from fuck, why am I blanking on his name? Richard. He was like, I heard my first bleep on the podcast today. And I was like, yeah, I fucked up.
I don't even know what was said that got us bleeped.
No, it's just me.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's fine.
All
We don't
right,
have to,
well,
we don't have to talk about it
we
anymore.
don't have to talk about it anymore.
That's how you get more
Of all the things we
more
say.
listens on your if you go back to last week's episode, you can find where the bleep is.
It was towards the beginning, so you don't have to listen that far
You don't even
either.
have to listen to the whole thing.
Just like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm like.
Well, fuck. What did we do in the gym this week?
It was deload week for me, so it was boring. I didn't do anything. Just
Man, I
chilled out.
moved to gym this week.
You did, didn't you?
That shit is heavy.
A whole gym, yeah.
I'm telling you, I moved my squat rack. I got a couple 100-pound plates. I got 4 sets of 45s. And it's a full squat rack with the pull down attachment and all that stuff. So it was a lot of work I got done, and felt like I had been doing some actual lifting. So
Yeah.
I did not lift.
That's fair.
That's completely reasonable. So, yeah, no, that's the gym this week, then, huh?
So did you lift at all this week? Or?
Yeah. Just I've been doing some more casual stuff. One of the things that I had talked to him about, I'm getting married here on October 13th, and I've been having issues with my shoulder, getting frustrated and stressed out, and I'm like, let's just wait till after October, after the wedding, to really start hitting a block. I'll just, I'm basically just
Cruising, kind of like
just
gym bro.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's not like a gym bro split. It's not like push pull legs or anything like that. But I'm doing bench, squat, deadlift, and then whatever other accessories behind each one. But there's not really it's not
Not like a
towards
progression
any
plan.
specific
Yeah.
number. It's just how do I feel today?
Yeah.
Which is working for me. I mean, I think it's a good kind of
a break, kind of a relief.
It's letting me mentally kind of enjoy lifting again for about a month.
Before you get back onto the...
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, sometimes like it, and you guys probably experience the same thing, but sometimes like when you're getting ready for a meet, or even in the off season, when you're looking at this specific number, it stops being I enjoy going to the gym because it's fun and it kind of lets me relax and I get my mind off stuff. To like now, like
It's
I
stress.
got to hit this number and I'm stressed out and the stress is keeping me from really focusing on my form, so I'm not hitting the number that I want to hit, and it's making me even more mad. And then it's just this cycle, and I'm like, I kind of hate lifting right now.
Yep.
Like, I'm not having fun.
Everybody goes, I'm there right now because I'm on and off 75 hard and been going 7 days a week for 6 or 7 weeks now. So
Right.
I'd be pretty sick
little
of it too.
fucking tired of it, to be honest. But
I'm surprisingly in that mindset. I'm surprisingly good being this close to nationals. Like I'm nervous about nationals, but I'm not like when last year when I was with Joe and like things were going shitty and I was frustrated and I
Right.
felt like shit. Like I actually feel really good.
That's good.
Like physically, last week, you know, is deload week and things felt a little heavier than normal, but I also like no caffeine, no stimulants, like just going in.
And that's a good time for a deload week too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good programming. If that's the week that everything kind of feels heavy, then
yeah, it's just kind of like we just taking it easy and getting stimulus. And I felt stimulus, so all that was good. It was just more just like, but my mindset specifically is just really good going into nationals. So I'm pretty excited. It's the first time I've ever felt like this going into a meet.
Right. Yeah, and that's
It's going to be my worst meet because I feel good going into it.
Yeah, I was gonna go to nationals, and then obviously the dates
wedding
didn't coincide very well with everything else I've got going on this month or that month. So
you thinking about regionals?
Yeah, so I did regionals down
Last year
in May.
That was this year.
Yeah. And there were national judges there, so I got to set national records. So going to nationals is just kind of just to say I went to nationals.
Right.
I competed at nationals because I've got 3 national records now. And just with everything being so busy, what I didn't want was to not be able to take that mental time off to have to focus like while I'm also mentally preparing to get married and have 2 more kids now, and I just, like I said, I just moved everything over to her house. So it's
a lot to happen all in one month.
Yeah, and generally speaking, I don't feel good going into meets either.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know that this is just going to end up being a train wreck.
Yeah.
So I'm just not going to do nationals this year.
It was probably a wise decision.
Yeah. It was a tough one, especially since I went to regionals and qualified for nationals.
Yeah.
But I don't doubt that I'll be able to qualify for nationals next year. So
Yeah.
Too worried about it.
You had a fun day this week at the gym.
Yeah,
Zach?
I went to Maverick yesterday and got on some kilo plates for the first time in a while. Did a little close gripping. So 363 and 374 both moved pretty well. Didn't get a video at 374, but it was a busy morning. So
yeah.
And AMRAP at 341 because I thought it was 319. And then
What did you have
another
on
one
there?
at 275.
Two
reds and a
blue?
yellow.
A yellow.
Yeah, 2 reds and a blue, and the collars is 363.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah.
It should have been a green.
Should have been a green. Yep. But
It's okay.
it's all right. We don't have that luxury yet at our gym. So,
Right. We'll eventually learn kilo plates one day.
Eventually. It's just a matter of working on them regularly. I'm about to order some calibrated plates. So, beginning of the year probably. So,
Yeah.
I'm tempted to just order Freedom units though.
I mean,
Just get them competition calibrated, just because.
just because America.
Just a big fuck you. Just to make the confusion worse on meet day for myself when I'm loading up somebody's fucking warm-ups.
Like, accidentally load up, a couple kilos heavier than their first opener. Whoops.
Accidentally. But I did. I
Good
had
news and bad news.
all-time squat PR this week, though.
Yeah.
At 524, on the SSB.
Yeah.
So, not mad about that.
Good.
And then camber bar bench press continues to humble me.
Yep.
That's
a
all
hell
I
of a
can say
movement,
about
though.
it's humbling. I did hit. I hit 335 on that this week. So, yeah.
I mean, bodybuilders going in there with like a plate and a half, 2 plates. Right. So like getting a handful of reps. I mean, hammered bar is no joke. That extra stretch at the bottom is
a motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got to guide it down too because you feel like it's going to tear a peg off the bone.
And if you have enough weight on it, it will.
It will, yeah. So I probably should stop fucking around with. I don't think I really have to have a mid 300 camber bar bench press 1 rep max. So
I don't think anyone's going to ever ask you what your 1 rep max is for the camber bar.
So I probably should stop fucking around with that.
That's like me in the SSB. I'm like, I don't really want to put too much on here. I was just telling somebody about that the other day. That I'm just like, the SSB is like leg extensions to me. Like I'll do a couple plates max, but I don't want to put a lot on there because it's just a terrible movement. I hate it.
It rearranges your soul.
It's just torture.
It's terrible.
It's punishment.
But other than that, there's nothing.
Nope, camera's gone.
That's what it is. What it is. That's that bar is. It's rough, but nothing cool other than that. I mean, those are cool things, but
Yeah.
no PRs on bench. But I mean, camber bar, but not on flat. So it is what it
Off-season
is.
stuff.
Off-season stuff. Getting ready to get back with Ron. So
Yeah.
that's coming sooner than later. So
Did we mention scooters?
Yeah, we did in the show before the show, but show sponsored by Scooters. Thanks, Richard and Catherine. So
Get you a peanut butter pal, or the one you
the
got.
chai latte protein shake was
Legit.
It
was very,
good.
very good.
But yeah, we got that out of the way now. So
PR songs.
thank you so much for real though. We're very grateful.
Scooters is sponsoring our PR songs today.
And our sobriety.
And our sobriety.
You got PR songs pulled up already?
I'm working on it.
You're working on it? Okay.
Lance, you got PR songs, or you have them on your phone?
I got one that I can play for sure.
Oh, we don't play them. We just say what
How many
they
do?
are.
Oh yeah.
Just have one or two, whatever.
Yeah.
You feel
So
like.
so mine for sure. Not a new one, because I don't really listen to a lot of new music. But Hatebreed, Smash Your Enemies. Listen to the one that's on Perseverance. So they had like a 6-song EP that this song is on, but then on their second full-length album, they re-recorded it. With some good production.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the heaviest, meanest openings that I've ever heard. And every time I really need to get some juice going,
Mm-hmm.
I will turn up Smash Your Enemies. My band actually covers it too, so
That's
it's,
cool.
It's one of my favorites.
Hell yeah. Bare Knuckle. I've put Bare Knuckle on the PR song list before when y'all released it this year, I think. What you got, Nathan?
So Shiva put out a new song called Whispers in the Void. It is very good.
Oh yeah. You like them. I like them
Shiva's
too.
awesome. I love
They
Shiva.
seem to be more in your playlist than mine most of the time.
Yeah, I just really like deathcore. Like
So-
that's just my jam.
Heavy all the time. It's kind of hard to fuck with. I'm gonna go. I think I'm appealing to Lance somewhat with this first one, but old band, not heavy. Grew up listening to it in the '90s a whole lot, and near and dear to me to some extent. But it's Pearl Jam's Black.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's that song will hit you in the feels.
yeah, that song fucks you up.
Yeah. If you're one of the guys that like goes to the gym and lists to like fight the demons that you got when your girlfriend broke up with you, then like Black is your song. That was written for you.
That's a rough one.
The last line of that song, I know someday you'll have a beautiful life. I know you'll be a star in someone else's sky. Just
Oof.
Ugh.
crushing. It's absolutely crushing.
I've been back on my actual grunge era stuff quite a bit lately for some reason. But
Fair.
what's round two? What do you got? Second one?
Oh, I need a second one.
Yeah.
No, you don't have to.
You don't have to. But
Oh, I got plenty. Give me a second.
While you're doing that, Signs of the Swarm also put out a new song.
Hell yeah.
And it's called I Won't Let You Die, one word, all smashed together.
Hell yeah.
Very good, very heavy.
I'm about to get on Lance's nerves because this album dropped this week.
Oh, here we go. I know. I already know what it is.
We're going Cannibal by Kublai Khan.
Yeah.
There you go.
Meshuggah Part 2. So I listened to that, and I may offend a lot of people. I'm not a Kublai Khan fan at all. It's really, really good production. It's very heavy. So I will give them that. But it just sounds like breakdowns to me. It's like
Oh, it is 100%.
it's just Meshuggah. Like Meshuggah's been doing that for years. Like
Yeah, Meshuggah can actually play, though. But, I mean, I know exactly what it is. It's all just super, super, super fucking meatheady shit.
Yeah.
Matt Honeycutt's a meathead, and that's exactly what they sound like. It's meathead shit. When I went to watch them, it was at Iron City, and we do that big powerlifting meet there.
Yep.
And I walk in, and all the same powerlifters are there that they're at. I'm like, oh, fuck. There's apparently a fucking theme with this. It is what it is.
That's fair, though.
I don't have any drink to take a shot for that. It is what it is.
I already finished mine, so.
Yeah, so that was my second one.
All right, yeah. So I'm gonna go with a band called End It. I saw them play up in Nashville with Terror and Drain, a couple other bands. But the song "Hate Keeper" is absolutely, it just gets me going. Just an angry song. Baltimore. Really cool guys. Yeah, absolutely motivate me.
Northeast and hardcore, man. I can do it better than anybody. So what's wrong with California hardcore? Why aren't they any good?
Drain's from California. Drain
is good. I like Drain a lot. I had no idea they were from
good.
California, to be honest with you.
Black Flag was from California.
But you get fucking like newer hardcore bands from California are like, yeah, we're from California, and that's what their song's about. It's like,
yeah, I mean,
cool.
I think that's just a California thing. Like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, they wrote a lot of songs about being from California too.
Yeah, they definitely did. Yeah.
So maybe that's just like once you go there, it's like you got to rep your city or whatever. You got to.
Why would you want people to know you're from California? That place is a shithole.
No. Well,
I'm trying to get us canceled.
Yeah.
sorry, California listeners.
No, let's see. Tara's from California too. They're
Okay,
really
so
big.
you're just like picking it apart.
Yeah, let's see. Tsunami.
It's been there's a band that everybody's on their dick real hard right now, and I'm trying to think about it, and I tried to listen to them because I do have a growing affinity for hardcore, so I'm trying, admittedly. When I think of their name, I'll be like, but every fucking song on their EP was like, we're from California. Fuck you.
Are you sure that wasn't Drain?
I'm sure it wasn't Drain. I really like the new Drain record. It was fucking awesome, so I'm 100% sure it wasn't Drain.
Oh, well.
99.9% sure it was.
We played with a band from California, Kind Eyes. They were really good. I actually almost picked one of their songs for the PR song, but they're a really good band. So shout out to Kind Eyes.
Before we get into this too much, I used to work at Relapse.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty big label for metal and hardcore. So I'm going to ask you an age-old question here: is Converge a metal band or a hardcore band?
So the thing about metal and hardcore, and this is the rest of the show. So if you're not into this, then because I'm about to talk for 2 hours. Now, so the thing about hardcore versus metal is that hardcore is born of punk rock, which is as much of an ethos as it is a style of music. So like you can have bands like Good Charlotte, Sum 41 that are on MTV playing things that sound like punk, but it's not punk. Because they didn't play, they didn't come up, playing in, 30 cap clubs. It's more of a DIY thing. And I think that separates hardcore and metal more than anything is because metal, as good as it is, it doesn't have, that requirement for like a scene or like this underground, tight knit group the way that like hardcore and punk do. Like you go to hardcore shows, it's the same people at the same places, and everyone knows each other. You go to a metal show, and it's just like here's a bunch of people that like the same music. So I think that's what the difference is between hardcore and metal, more than any kind of
stylistic, musical,
more than just the music. So I would say Converge is a hardcore band. I will finish this by saying I hate Converge. Like I do not like them at all. I just never got into them. They're noisy and loud, and I can barely count to 4. So if you go beyond like a regular 4/4 measure, then I just can't follow it. So like bands like Converge and Dillinger and stuff like that, I just never got into because I can't keep up with it because I'm just a dumb jock.
Fair enough. That was a very very informed statement, though. I feel like that's and that's how I feel about it watching hardcore shows now.
Right.
Pretty much sums up. I'm just fucking these people fucking care about this.
Yeah, and especially if you listen to like definitely bands like Terror, but most hardcore bands, Bane, which Converge was a side project of Bane, and Bane's one of my favorite hardcore bands. There's a lot of songs about like. This is our life. This is, this is what keeps us around, like hardcore save my life type stuff. And it's not just music. It's not just lyrics about, going through some stuff. It's you go to a hardcore show a few times and you start to meet people who come from the same backgrounds as you, who have been through stuff, and you take care of each other. And it's this really tight knit group of folks that all care about each other and want each other to be successful and happy.
While also beating the shit out of each other.
While literally punching each other in the face. Yes. Yeah, we
fun has been redefined.
We actually played a show last weekend, and there's a bunch of new younger kids coming up from Birmingham. A band called Path of Destruction, Twisted Luck, and a couple of them were moshing, and I mean, just punched me right smack in the nose, and I just broke my nose earlier this year. So I was like, great, this stupid kid broke my nose. But it's cool to see, younger kids coming in and enjoying it and doing the same stuff that I was doing when I was, 14 years old.
Alabama hardcore is alive and well.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
Yep. I've heard that from many people, even people not playing hardcore. I got friends of mine in the shoegaze scene, and like, man, these hardcore bands, we have a problem packing out a club, and they ain't got no problem fucking putting 100 people in it.
there was 400 people at this show at a skate park in Madison. 400 people, which is pretty awesome.
It is very awesome.
If I'm remembering right, didn't you play at the Shell station?
It was an Exxon.
It was an Exxon.
And Get Hope. They just reopened, right? So
I know.
We did.
There was a whole bunch of pictures going around. I thought I remember seeing you there.
Yeah, that was me.
But yeah, for the listeners that don't know,
check out Coleman Daily. Actually, don't.
Actually, don't.
They fucking suck, but they did cover it.
They did.
They were confused, I think. I think a lot of people were confused about what was going on. There was people that would like pull up and get gas. And there was easily 200 kids packed into this gas station. We had to move all the racks when we got there. I don't remember the name of the guy that owns it, but he was super cool. I mean, he was just down for whatever. He was so happy. He obviously wasn't into the music. Like he was not familiar with it. But I mean, he saw a bunch of kids having fun and dancing, and
he was just like,
he was smiling the whole time. He was behind the counter just smiling. And all those kids bought, Monsters, bought waters from him. So he
made a killing. Probably.
He probably made more money that night than he's ever made in his life. And I bet that everybody that was getting gas was very happy that it was pay at the pump.
Right.
They were not trying to walk into that.
That's probably one of the cooler DIY venues.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've seen in recent years, to be completely honest with you. It's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, that was actually our first show back. We had been, practicing a little bit, talking about playing again, and the guy that booked it hit me up and said, hey, I'm doing a show at a gas station in Coleman. Would you be willing to play? He was like, I know that you're not quite ready yet. And I was like, well, we'll play.
Right.
Like, yes.
Like, that's just, it's hard to say no to that.
We will absolutely do that. We are not even close to being ready. Like, we sounded like trash. But yes, we'll play. Just have us play first, get it out of the way, but I will definitely play.
Hell yeah. So tell us a little about you and your, obviously we've heard about hardcore, but tell us a little about you. What brought you to powerlifting? Why do you do it? That kind of thing. We'll get into
lifting history.
Lifting history.
Yeah. So I would say I started lifting weights probably when I was, in high school. I played soccer in high school. I was a skinny dweeb. I wanted to be bigger. Obviously, everybody that's been a skinny dweeb.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah. Everyone that's been skinny wants to be bigger. And I think it works the other way around. I was actually talking to Joey Miller.
Oh shit!
About this a couple weeks ago. He was the fat guy, and he's very lean now, just absolutely jacked. And he and I were joking around because he was like, I'll always see that fat kid in the mirror, and I said, same here, except I'll always see that skinny kid, and I look in the mirror, and everyone that lives has body dysmorphia. We're all, but I think that from one side or the other, everyone gets into it to kind of be a better version of themselves. Mm-hmm. So I initially got into lifting, completely on my own, wanting to, just put on some muscle, get a little bigger. I knew nothing about diet.
Mm-hmm. Same.
I just, so I was eating just the same trash that I always ate. No extra calories, no extra protein.
Were you vegan in the beginning too?
No. So I was just eating food. And obviously it wasn't the right stuff because I wasn't gaining much weight. I did get stronger, but I didn't look a lot different. Mm-hmm. Went to college. I actually took 2 semesters of body sculpting at UAH that were kind of geared towards coaching. And this is when I was 17 and 18. I graduated high school at 17 and started 17 at UAH. So many years ago, and that's kind of when I first got introduced to the idea of to put on muscle, you need, a base of carbs, not just the protein. Protein's great for building muscle, but you also have to have carbs to create the muscle. So I started eating more carbs, started putting on a little bit of weight, but I was young. My metabolism was just way too fast for me to really
put on weight,
get big.
Yeah.
But I did start, getting a lot better at building my own programming because of that training. I basically just, I joined the military. I just lifted to be stronger. It was a supplement to, my other athletic training, whether I was playing hockey or soccer. As an adult, I did adult league soccer. I did adult league hockey. So I've always been active. So lifting's just been a part of keeping that strength as a foundation for my athletic stuff. And then I think I stopped really lifting for a little while after I started having kids, and I was doing some stuff around the house. To pick something up that didn't weigh a lot, and I hurt my back. Probably early 30s. I'm not old enough to be hurting my back picking up a bucket of rocks. This is stupid. So I started lifting again. And for the people that tell me, because I'll be 43 in November, and people that tell me like, hey, you gotta be careful with that deadlift and stuff, or you're gonna hurt yourself.
Right.
Like I have not hurt my back, knock on wood, but I've not hurt my back doing something around the house, since I started lifting heavy.
Yeah.
I my back muscles are strong as hell now.
Right.
Like from squatting, from deadlifting, good mornings. I do obviously a lot of strength training because I'm a strength athlete now, and I don't worry that I'm going to throw my back out getting down on the ground and working on my car, because I put my back through a lot of stuff. But that's what really got me into focusing more on powerlifting was I hurt my back, and I couldn't stand up straight for days. And I just said, this is stupid. This is not how I'm going to live my life. I'm not going to be in my 30s and be an old man that can't walk. So I started lifting again. We had a gym at work. So I was focusing on that. I thanks to the internet, I kind of got into 531 stuff. So I did that for a while. I got a lot stronger. My metabolism slowed down. Mm-hmm. So I started putting on decent weight and really started building muscle. Finally broke the 2-plate barrier on bench when I was 34, 35. For you young kids that are trying to get there, it will come eventually. You just got to keep going for it. But yeah, so I from that, I found that I really liked, having a goal, and I liked the feeling of working towards that, and kind of having a program that was like the 531, that you're not just going, 10 by 3 for everything all the time and add 5 pounds, starting strength is cool for people that are starting. But that whole linear progression thing, it's not something sustainable for someone that's been lifting, because it's just not interesting. You lose it. But I really liked the way that works, and I started getting more into looking at powerlifting. And then I was actually talking to Joey Miller again. But he was like, hey, look, with the lifts that you post in the gym, you could break some state records. I was like, what? So he was sending me it was USPA, for I think I was 41 at the time. I may have been 40, but I had just gotten into the masters division. He was like, yeah, you lift more than this, you lift more than this, you lift more than this. I was like, holy crap! Maybe I should actually compete, because competing wasn't really on my radar at all. I was just lifting for myself. So I was like, maybe I should. So I started getting ready, and actually built a programming block to a long one, using 531 as kind of a foundation for it. But grabbing, picking and choosing other stuff for the accessories and stuff like that. Went down to Birmingham for my first meet, and I set the state record for deadlift, squat, not bench. And I think I set the total state record as well. I did. So basically everything but bench state record, and I did not make my weight cut. I was 185, so I had to compete in 198 that year. But
so you still broke the 198 records anyway?
Yeah, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I went down, I the way that I had my list planned, I would have broken the bench record at 181.
Right.
But I was pretty excited to still come back with some records, at 198. So I decided to really get into it. I got in touch with Zach, and started really.
As per Joey, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I had actually met him.
Actually, yeah. Zach was at the meet, and we started talking there.
Okay.
So it was a good experience because that was my first meet, and in addition to Zach, I mean, everybody involved was the nicest people that, I mean, I've ever interacted with. It was very cool.
I'd say like 90% of the Alabama powerlifting community is really cool.
Yeah,
there's the outliers. But.
I had lifted at Heidi's gym before that. When I was just looking for a gym, they let me get like a membership, but I told her, I can't go to the classes. I'm just going to lift. So I got a key, and I'd go in after work. So I knew her. But yeah, in addition to her, I mean, all the people that I met at that meet and then other meets have been great. I ended up, forming some actual friendships. Taylor Crowder, the photographer,
she's super cool.
She took our engagement photos. She's going to be at our wedding, taking our wedding photos.
That's awesome.
So
she does good work too.
Yeah, she's amazing. But yes, it was really cool to me because, I'm not really an extrovert. I'm not against talking to people. I just don't.
Yeah.
But just hanging out, people just start talking, and I mean, it was a very cool environment for a guy that's never done this before. I had no idea what I was walking into, and it's a competitive, high testosterone environment, and everyone was just super chill and helpful.
Yeah.
And I mean, guys were helping me figure out, what I needed to do for my warm-ups. I mean, it was really awesome. It was a great experience. So that kind of got me to say, I think that I want to do this more.
Yeah.
More than just show up just to get a state record, just to say I did it, but actually get involved in this
as a hobby.
As a hobby, yeah.
Oh yeah. So a lot of people, well, we mentioned it one time before, but a lot of people don't know you are, and correct me if I'm wrong, you are an ethical vegan, correct?
Yes. Yeah. And in fact, I don't like the idea of veganism as a health choice. Because I was joking around with my fiance Amanda on the way here, because we had talked about what are we going to talk about on the show, and well, probably a lot about your veganism. And I was like, yeah, like I eat trash. I just eat trash that doesn't have animal products in it. But like for lunch today, I had 2 frozen Gardein spaghetti and meatball meals. Obviously not actual meat, but I eat whatever I can that's got good calories, that's got decent macro breakdown, that's not made out of animals.
I think the biggest issue that a lot of vegans run in is getting enough protein.
It's not terribly efficient for that.
It's horrible. It's bad. Like if you are going vegan for any reason other than ethical reasons, then I don't see it being a long-term solution.
Right.
Because you're going to go, I can get better, health results from an animal-based diet than this, because it's hard,
right.
Especially for a strength athlete. One of my friends, Daniel Austin, he wrote a book called The Way of the Vegan Meathead. He goes into a lot more depth on this type of stuff. But I'll try to do, his work justice. But basically, because of the inefficiency of even plant protein, like if I need to have 200 grams of protein, right? I need to eat 220 grams of protein, because the inefficiency of plant protein, there's so much fiber in it,
right,
that it goes straight through your system. It's not in your body long enough for you to even digest it all. So things like that, like you have to eat more. I have to supplement the handful of stuff, like a literal full hand of pills and stuff that I have to take because I'm not getting enough of this and enough of this, to do athletic stuff. If I wasn't vegan for ethical reasons, I would absolutely not be a vegan.
Right.
It's not a sustainable diet if you're trying to be on a diet. There are way too many things that you don't get that you have to supplement with. Now, for me, I can eat whatever I want to, and I know that, I'm not getting weird chemicals that they inject into chickens, but that I'm not.
That's just extra steroids, bro.
Right. but that I'm not part of an entire system that I, have an ethical, disagreement with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will absolutely say, if you're looking for a good diet to lose weight on, like it ain't veganism.
Right.
Guess what's vegan? Like Oreos are vegan. Pop-Tarts are vegan. I eat Pop-Tarts left and right. I love Pop-Tarts because they have a shitload of calories.
Yep.
And like the way, like
they're also super low in fat, so it's like a carb bomb.
Pop-Tarts and Sour Patch Kids, I will eat all day in the gym, because they're just carbs and they're tasty. But yeah, like you could live your life just eating Pop-Tarts. You'd be very unhealthy.
You wouldn't lose any weight,
and you would, but you would definitely not lose weight. So like just saying like, yeah, I'm vegan. That's not. It's not a health diet. It needs to be something more and deeper than that, or it's not going to last.
So what was the reason? Like, what was the?
So I will tell you. So in the hardcore scene, vegan straight edge is somewhat more pop. I would say it's more common than it is like for the everyday person. There's bands like Earth Crisis, that are huge, that promote veganism, along with being straight edge. But so I would go to shows, from when I was 13, on, and anytime a vegan band would play, they would usually carry a TV with them, and they'd have this video that they would play of like filmed in slaughterhouses. This is what you're eating. And that always kind of stuck with me. I consider myself a pretty empathetic and compassionate person. I've always liked animals. But I think as people brought up in the society that we were brought up in, we just build this wall between, what is real like that and this thing that we buy. Like,
right.
I've got an iPhone. When I look at it, I see my iPhone and all the apps on it. I don't see like that was probably made by a kid. So there's ethical, obviously ethical things and everything. But I think that we build these walls between, how this product got to my hands,
right,
and all the things that had to take place for it to get there. So I was lifting a lot, and I was trying to, keep this lean physique. So I was eating chicken breasts every single day, and rice and broccoli, the classic chicken, rice, and broccoli. And I would put mustard on it for seasoning because it has the fewest calories.
That's Joe Sullivan's favorite condiment, by the way, is mustard.
Yeah.
I've seen him put it on some gross shit.
Yeah.
I think he put it on a Pop-Tart one.
It's bad. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it gave it some flavor. But anyways, it was just, the Tyson chicken breasts, and I would cook them all and slice them up, and I'd do the whole meal prep thing. And I was sitting there eating one day, and there was a string in it, a really thin string. And I looked at it and I was like, that's disgusting. It's a hair. There's someone's hair in this. And then as I looked at it, I said, that's actually not a hair. It's just a piece of like tendon or something.
Yeah.
And then I was like, actually, that's way more disgusting than hair. And I started looking at the chicken breast, and I'm like, that's tendon. Like, that's a tendon. This is a muscle. This is a muscle from an animal that used to be alive. And then like whatever wall I had there between like the food that I was eating and how it was made just disintegrated. I mean, in that instant. And I put it down, and I almost threw up. And I sent a text to my ex-wife. We were married at the time. And I said, I can't finish my lunch. I feel terrible. I don't know what's going on. I got home. She had made spaghetti, with meat sauce, and I couldn't eat it. Like, it wasn't that I wanted to be a vegan. I just looked and I was like, this is disgusting. It was disgusting to me. I had no desire to eat it. And and I was just like, I can't eat this. This is disgusting. She was like, what are you talking about? Like, obviously,
Right.
that's not something your wife wants to hear you say. But yeah, I was like, I don't think I can eat meat anymore. This is what happened at work, and I just don't think I can do it anymore. So, I just ate vegetarian stuff, but even eating cheese and drinking milk was disgusting to me. I didn't know any better as far as ways to get protein, so I was eating just a bunch of cheese and drinking a lot of milk. But every time I did it, every time I look at milk, I just see, the udder of the cow, and the cow's stuck in this giant factory, shoulder to shoulder with hundreds of other cows. And it's gross. Like, those situations aren't just unethical to me, they're disgusting. When you pass the chicken truck, it's a truck with just cages of chickens all over it, just driving down the interstate.
Yep.
And someone's going to eat that. There's a chicken just going down the interstate, and there's stacks of them. And if you think about the one on the bottom, it's got 12 other chickens shitting on it. This chicken, it's a human centipede of chicken shit. And that bottom chicken is going to get packaged up and someone's going to eat it. That's absolutely gross to me. Yeah. And I just can't do it. Like, I don't miss eating meat. I don't miss drinking milk. It is something in me that is just like, no, absolutely not. That's gross. And obviously there's ethical issues, that come from it. But to me, the ethical part is that I see that as just any other animal.
Right.
I don't see a chicken at a farm as being any different than the dogs in my house. They're animals. And if somebody gave me a plate of food and said, this is a dog,
right,
I would be disgusted. Just like most people in America would. But for some reason with this other animal, we've conditioned ourselves to think it's okay. And that conditioning just snapped on me and doesn't exist anymore.
Fair. Good.
Long story, but
that's why we wanted to know. So.
Yeah.
Sorry, I sound muffled because my nose is over here bleeding profusely.
It looks really cool, even though the camera's broken. This is one to everybody.
Got blood in my beard and my mouth. It is what it is. But that was funny that time. I don't know why. But you were talking about Daniel specifically talked about how poor plant protein is. It's not as biologically available.
Right.
A good reason for that is because it's an incomplete BCAA profile.
Right.
So it just doesn't synthesize as well. As you were talking about, the addition of fiber makes it move through your body faster too. So there's some things stacked against you in a sense. So you mentioned you take a handful of pills. I'd imagine BCAAs is one of the supplements you take outside of those pills.
Yeah. I have a BCAA supplement that actually is in my protein shakes. I get my protein shakes through True Nutrition. If you do find my Instagram at It's Lance, I have a link there. I'm a
affiliate.
I'm an affiliate for them, but they have great plant-based protein. Tasty, very, very tasty.
So let me ask, because I've had vegan protein before, like a protein powder, and it like made my mouth itchy. That weird. You know what I'm talking about?
So some of it does. What I get is mostly pea protein with rice protein. Mm-hmm. True Nutrition actually has a blend called Vegan Lean Blend, and it's phenomenal. It's got zero flavor to it, so whatever you add. So the way that True Nutrition works is basically you create your own protein and buy it in bulk. So you can go on there and select, here's I want 50% of this, 50% of that. They have one, like I said, called Vegan Lean Protein that's already built the blends in. But that one, once you add whatever flavor you're adding, all you can taste is that flavor.
Okay.
And it mixes incredibly smooth. Probably as good as what's the Ascentha 6 protein that I used to take before I was vegan. It's about as smooth as that, and that previously was the smoothest protein I've ever had. So it's really good, and it blends really well, and doesn't have that weird, thick, chalky feeling afterwards. And you can't taste like some pea protein. You can kind of taste the peas afterwards, but this is very smooth, and they also have add-ins. So I got an essential amino add-in that makes sure that I get that full profile.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to BCAAs, what do you take to make up the difference?
So I take D3, I take P5P, I take B12. I actually take a full B complex. I take magnesium, zinc, calcium. I'm trying to think.
You take iron?
I do. I take iron. I I take aspirin because I'm on TRT.
Yep.
I think that's it. That's not for my brain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like choline probably for brain
I do
drugs?
take choline. Yeah, I take choline.
Are you on nectar? Do you take nectar?
So back to something that you guys had mentioned before the show about pinning every single day. When I realized that nectar was not sub Q, I can't do an IM every single day. So I will take it like before, like if I'm training for a meet, before a big heavy day, I'll take some, or on that day, but not daily.
Yeah.
But I do take choline daily.
Cool. Well, what else you got for you? You can talk better than I can. So.
Well, I thought you had questions, but so as far as like your diet goes, like what do you typically eat in a day to make sure you make all your protein?
Yeah. So I'll wake up. I'll have a protein shake that's about 60 grams of protein with almond milk. So just to add some calories. I also usually put in some waxy maize, also for calories, just to balance out carbs. Then Cliff Builders bars are a huge part of my diet. They are not cheap, but they're tasty, and they have a really good macro ratio. So I'll usually have 2 to 3 of those for a snack, and then for lunch I'll have something like vegan chicken nuggets with fries, something that I can put in the air fryer. I'm a huge fan. Gardein's got an Impossible nugget that comes with buffalo sauce, and you can actually toss them in the sauce. It is hot, but what I do is I put the fries in when I toss it, so everything's tossed, and it's really good.
Is that like cauliflower or is it?
No, it's
tofu.
Yeah, it's a Beyond Meat. I'm not sure exactly what they do. I guess it's Impossible, but it's probably soy based. I think it's mostly soy based. So it's probably tofu essentially.
Yeah.
And for dinner, I'll usually just have some tofu or baked meat type stuff. Like I said, it is not a clean diet by any stretch. I'm pretty lean though, just because it is plants, even if it's not a clean diet. But it's when I talk to raw vegans, they're horrified by my diet. But I do supplement a lot with bars, with protein bars and shakes. I'll usually have 2 shakes a day and 4 to 6 protein bars a day in addition to my meals. I try to get between 25 and 3,000 calories. I don't always hit that, but I try to. Sometimes it's hard to remember to eat when you work and you have 5 kids around the house.
Well, that's pretty common with not just vegan diets, but I mean like for weight loss, I like the paleo diet for people that don't want to log and track. It's just a whole food diets approach. They eat as much as they want, as long as it's basically a whole food. It's fair game. What people don't realize though is that you cannot sustain a powerlifting career, even as a hobby, on the paleo diet.
Yeah,
that doesn't at all surprise me that no one is breaking records on a raw vegan diet.
Yeah.
I mean, and it has nothing to do with my opinions on meat versus vegetables or anything like that. It's just simply void of calories. That's the reason why those diets result in weight loss for people, whether it's paleo or raw veganism, or even carnivore or something like that. When you're doing, you're taking an entire macronutrients out. In the case of veganism, it's saturated fat.
Yeah.
Which saturated fat we know is bad for your heart, but it's also incredibly calorie dense. And you're talking about having to eat a lot of food in Lance's situation already, so a raw diet's just not fucking sustainable.
Yeah. Right?
It's not possible.
And that's something that Daniel hits on really well in his book is that if you look at the amount of protein that you really have to eat as a vegan athlete, you're not getting it from broccoli.
No, hell no.
You're not getting it from quinoa. Like quinoa is a carb. He actually used to sell stickers that said "Make quinoa a carb again," because it's not a protein source. Beans aren't a protein source; they're fiber. So people like I'll go to a restaurant and they're like, we have a vegan protein for you. It's black beans. Like black beans aren't a protein. Like they have some protein in them.
Yeah, but
so is broccoli.
That's all fiber and carb, baby.
But yeah, like that's absolutely not a protein source.
I did the math one time, and for me to have eaten my daily requirement of protein in black beans, it was something like 17 or 18 cans.
Yeah. It's yeah. And
like, we're not talking about servings. We're talking about the whole goddamn can.
And for people that don't do, strength sports or sports in general, maybe one serving of black beans is fine for a day for them.
Yeah.
But for guys like us, for people that are trying to, lift considerable portions, if not, multiples of their body weight.
Sure.
Like I need more than a can of black beans for protein
for sure,
today, my friend. I'm sorry.
This is
and a lot of the only way that you can get it, as a vegan is through, especially now. I mean, it's Impossible Burgers. Like I'll go to Walmart and get a whole pack of Impossible Burgers. Things like that will have good amounts of protein in them.
Lance eats things I know that would appall anybody on a diet, quote unquote, like vegan or not. But it was just because it's so void of calories. If he doesn't, that it's got to come from somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, I'll sit down and eat a whole tub of vegan protein.
This is
or vegan ice cream, and it's.
This is normal diet stuff with any strength athlete though. It does transcend like veganism, like to the point that Chris Treese is somebody that I bring up a lot, but that's somebody because of his job that it's not uncommon when he's bulking. We're eating 7,000 or 8,000 calories a day. It's not going to come from chicken breast and rice.
Mm-hmm.
There's no. Where's he going to fucking put it? The guy's going to have a fucking cheeseburger.
Yep.
Like, it's all there is to it. Like, you got 7,000 calories. You're going to have some things that traditionally aren't considered health food.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the only way it's going to fucking
And he's
happen.
not fat. He's not a heavy
that guy's
guy.
sub 10% body fat and 240 some odd pounds. So probably closer to 230 now because he is cutting. But like, it doesn't matter where it came from, plant-based, meat-based, or whatever. The fact of the matter is, like, he cannot achieve that many calories on a health,
right?
What would we consider to be a traditionally healthy diet, regardless of what it is. So, I mean, that's the nature of what we do to a lot of it, with the exception of being like how far you have to go take supplements. Like, my protein already has all my BCAAs in it. Steak has all the BCAAs I need in it. Like, I'm not having to actively think about stuff like that, but like, at the end of the day, a diet's a diet. You got to do what works for you. I'm with Lance in that I don't think, just from a professional standpoint, I am not going to put, unless you have ethical reasons to be on a vegan diet, I'm probably not putting you on a vegan diet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm a coach as well, and one of my clients is on a vegan diet, and that's because he was a vegan when I met him.
Yeah.
I have never recommended a client that's not vegan to become vegan for health reasons.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it sucks. It's hard.
Yeah.
And if you're just doing it for health reasons, like I said, it's not sustainable. It's not going to last.
Right. For sure. I mean, it's not any shot at it at all. And I ask people too if they're interested in those kinds of diets, or is this an ethical choice, or do you just think it's healthier?
Right.
Because like we need to define the why before we go down this road. Because there's like I've had a client that was a pescatarian. Largely, and I have a client now other than you that's a vegetarian. Both of them for seemingly ethical reasons. Well, I'm cool with that at that point. We can work with that. But if it's just because you read in a magazine somewhere that vegan diets are better, or you watch Game Changers, I'm sorry. We probably need to discuss something else.
Yeah.
Me and was it not who would we have on? Did we not print or look up the results of Game Changers and actually those
I think
athletes'
you did.
wins
That
and
was
losses?
a while ago.
Yeah, they wasn't winners.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But also too, I mean, when it comes to like celebrity dieting and a lot of those guys, whether it's like NFL players and stuff, those guys get it put on like incredibly restrictive diets to the point that it's like asinine to ask them to go outside and hit somebody when they're eating 3,000 calories a day and lettuce.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like those diets were done very, very poorly for them, and not at all like Lance is treating his.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should have been done for him. But again, like this is something that doesn't really matter. Like food is, and to some extent, at least from my point of view, coach's point of view, is food, and we got to get it in somehow.
Yeah.
So
right,
we're gonna have to fucking figure it out.
And that's what that's really how I've always approached food. I mean, that's why I was eating that chicken, rice, and broccoli. I mean, it's just food is just the fuel to. I just have to hit these numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And it still is, and it's just that I have to eat, sometimes more to get the same amount of calories.
You live in an area that's a little bit more vegan friendly than we do here, but
yeah,
probably only slightly. But
there's I'd say there's probably 6 or 7 restaurants in Huntsville that I can go to and get a decent.
What does shopping and nights out, restaurants and stuff, I mean, look like for you?
Man, I mean, shopping, a lot of it is, 6 to 8 packs of protein bars. Obviously, I order my protein from True Nutrition for the shakes, but it's let's buy. How many boxes of protein bars do we have? 2. Okay, that's 2 days worth.
Yeah,
so I need to get 6 or 7 more.
Sure.
A lot of vegan fake meat type stuff. We found a really good Korean barbecue steak tip type thing. I forget the name of the brand. It's phenomenal. So I've been eating that with just rice. I eat Gardein, Morningstar, Beyond Impossible meat, and then I just add whatever carb.
Sure.
Right macro ratio.
Are any of these brands that you're just like outright avoiding because is there like some commonly accepted brands in the vegan world that like, hey, this shit is actually kind of fucking bad for you, let's avoid this thing?
No, I mean,
there obviously is for us, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
there's
I think there's some political, this guy doesn't, I don't agree with this or that, that's not really related to the food.
Sure.
But as you said, the food's food, and I got to get the calories.
Yeah, but I'm picky about, like I said, it's not just picking on you for being vegan, but we're picky about, like, I don't buy fucking farm raised fish.
Yeah.
Like, we buy wild caught. Like, don't want fish that have been raised eating their own shit. Like, that's,
right.
that kind of stuff.
And I think that's just a less intense version of meat.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I understand that completely. So, I don't know. There's
there are some things. I've bought one thing, and I don't remember which brand it was, but it said, it was from one of those bigger brands, and it looked like it was vegan. And then after I bought it, I took it home to eat it. Well, I just spent a bunch of money on it. So I do, regardless of brand, I always still check the label.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't just say, oh, it's Gardein, so it's vegan.
Yeah, that's diligent. You're doing it for ethical reasons. Some diligence is pretty fucking important when it comes to stuff like that. You don't want to. I say accidents happen for sure, but I mean, if you're doing it for the reasons you're doing it, you want to be sure that
right. Yeah.
it is what you think, what they say it is. Those kinds of things, and very rarely
it's not just an oopsie for me.
Yeah. Very rarely are things are things actually what they say they are.
Right.
Especially in the food world now.
We could go on a whole tangent on the organic stuff.
Oh my God.
Organic is just a label.
Well, yeah, and meat's bad about that too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
the probably worse than
no brains if
worse.
they left the gate open.
Yeah. They can call it, grass fed. Grass fed cows are just the same as every other cow. It's just that they feed them grass.
Yeah.
They're not out on the farm.
Yeah.
They're in a cage too. That both of their shoulders are touching the walls.
Yeah,
and they just dump grass in there instead of whatever else. That's all it means.
That is absolutely. Although that does change the micronutrient profile to some extent, but
it absolutely does. But I think a lot of people look at stuff like free range and grass fed and have some ethical feeling about it that's not accurate.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. There's also I don't know. It's just one of those labels they put on things to give people the warm and fuzzies.
Yep.
At the end of the day, I mean,
feel a little better about spending a little extra money on something that says organic.
I'll be honest with you too, because me and Sandy's going into this, and this may be a conversation that makes you uncomfortable. If it does, let me know. But me and Sandy really, really want to buy local meat and raised here, not because we think it's healthier, but because it's important to support like farmers and stuff like that. One, that's incredibly expensive, and two, like the FDA and USDA and stuff are so strict on who can process meats and stuff like that it's almost impossible to actually buy local beef for a reasonable price. Like it's kind of it's nuts to me that we can't buy our own food from the places we want to, and that's kind of crazy to me. And that is an ethical thing to me. Like most beef we eat in the grocery stores here is Argentinian. It's not even American beef, right. And that's pretty fucked up in and of itself. But those are those kinds of things that you're talking about, like being aware of. Most people don't even fucking think about it. Like a sirloin's a sirloin's a sirloin's a sirloin, but like. You're not even helping the local guy down the street sell his beef cattle, like by buying that piece of meat. Like you're not really doing anything, and we're kind of bound by that because that's our only fucking choice. And I think that kind of fucking sucks. But I mean, I gotta take a break because I'm swallowing blood. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I gotta figure something out about this. My bad.
Is the show still on? We're just waiting on him.
No, we're just gonna wait on. I'll cut it out. Okay. Unless you just want to talk about something.
You just talk shit about him.
Just talk shit about him. That motherfucker. He scheduled me fucking 350 for 3 sets 3 on bench press.
Honestly,
that motherfucker.
You should leave this in because my third Joey Miller shout out. Almost every day, Joey's like, I hate Zach so much. Like, look what he's got me doing.
Oh man. Nah, I'm not too mad about it. First week is just gonna be super fucking easy coming back.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been mad about it. There's just been stuff that I was like, this is really hard.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. He is like babied me throughout this prep. I had to kind of push to get like that 655 for 3 was supposed to be 655 for 1. I was just like, no. Yeah. It was like, I know I can pull significantly more than that and get more out of it. We had to talk a little bit about ranges and stuff. But that's okay because he just wasn't sure where I was at. We knew what things were looking like. And then when I started taking iridescence on my big lifts, it was just like a fucking game changer. Oh, okay. Like it's crazy the difference it makes. I'm going to be taking 3 shots, one before each event at nationals, and I'm hoping that pushes me close to an 1800 total.
Yeah,
we'll see. I think 1750 will be there, but 1800 would be like
that's 1800 is a cool number.
1800. If I hit 1800 and Austin doesn't, he will quit powerlifting. 100%. He's already said Zach already said he's planning on doing some Olympic lifting after nationals.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if he'll come back if I hit 18 and he doesn't. He will be very upset. But also that's also me pushing a 470 bench press. So we'll see.
That's a big one.
It's big. I've hit 425 for a double. Probably had a triple in me, and that the double sets me up at 450.
Yeah.
So triple would have set me up at like 463, I think. So it's close, but bench press is also my most reliable lift.
And I mean, I've always found that, you know, when I get to the platform, it's different.
It is. You get that week long rest.
I can pull so much more. I mean, like I think I pulled like 45-pound PR at regionals. Like, I mean, so much more than I anticipated. Right. And I think it was just because we were there and
just like amped and
we were just in the back, and he was like, "Why don't you just add like 40 pounds to it?" Like, sure,
like whatever, like it's fine.
Go for it. I was like, "We'll see how the second pull goes," and I mean the second pull just moved, and I was like, "Yeah, do it."
Like whatever, just we'll casually do it. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it, but we'll see.
I'm excited. I'm glad that I'm not going. There's definitely some FOMO. But I think I made the right choice.
Probably it'd be too, like we said, it'd be too much stress. Yeah. Like I said, this is the first time I've not been super duper stressed about preps and like going to a meet. So
that's crazy.
It is crazy. I don't understand it. I don't know. I think my brain has just kind of accepted. I think it was really that prep with Joe and like how shitty I felt and how good of a day I had at that meet. I've kind of just like shut my brain off to like, it doesn't matter how I feel. Like, because when I get a week long rest and I go in there, I'm going to be able to demonstrate what I've earned throughout this whole prep. So, but we'll see. I'm pretty stoked about it. If you plan on doing regionals, I think me and Desi are going to do regionals too. So that'll be fun. We'll all be down there.
Yeah, when are they doing regionals this year?
I want to say they haven't posted yet, but I want to say it's going to be either April or May. It'll probably be same place. Was it in Orange Beach this year? I think it'll probably be the same because it's going to be why am I blanking? Charlie and Heidi. So it should be the same location and everything. And the only reason I'm considering like regionals as opposed to like doing like a smaller meet or maybe even like pushing for a meet further down the road is so that if I don't hit the national bench record or somebody breaks it, I'll have an opportunity to do it again.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, that was kind of like my brain on it. It's like, you know.
Regionals was fun too. I met people from all over the country there.
Yeah. Obviously, it's, you know, I think it's Southeast, right? Southeast regionals.
Yeah, but there was a guy from Colorado that I met there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess it just worked out on his timetable then.
Yeah. I think it was just a cool opportunity to meet people that were looking for.
Yeah, so we took a break because my nose is bleeding profusely from
a
combination of performance-enhancing drugs and probably high blood pressure from hitting this vape and dry sinuses. So we got the trifecta of irresponsibility.
It's just because we had a guest. Everything goes wrong when we have a guest. So.
It's fucking cursed.
Well, it was good timing because I had to take a call with our wedding planner. So
we're back at it now. Where were we? Because I've been very distracted for a long time.
We were shit talking you.
We were actually. Yeah.
I don't remember where we were at there, but
I can't wait to hear it.
You don't listen to the podcast, so you'll have to.
I'm not this time.
You have to find it. If I leave it in,
was I prompting bad questions?
No, we were shit talking your program.
Okay.
Yeah, we were
mostly Joey just being like crying.
How Joey never complains about anything ever. No, mostly about the just about every day he'll send me a text that's like, I hate Zach so much.
Yeah.
What is wrong with him? Why is he making me do this?
It's like, I don't know. Just wants you to succeed is all.
That's it.
You just got to do hard stuff.
It's working. I mean, that's what I told Joey. I was like, dude, like as much as you complain, look in the fucking mirror, man.
Yeah,
dude.
Dramatic difference.
Yeah, Joey's transformation is pretty dramatic,
and he's a lot like me. Like he just needs to get it off his chest, and then he's head down doing it.
Yeah.
He just needs to, and I've ended up being the guy that he talks to.
Yeah,
he's got to get it out, and then he's like, okay, I'll do it. And then he does it.
Yeah, and honestly, he does it really well. The diet, I've never thought in a million years he would be just follow it, no questions asked, and he has. I told him, I was like, hey, man, if you're going to be this big, we need to be this big, and we need to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's got after it.
Yep.
So
yeah, he's absolutely lean. Like his before and after pictures are nuts.
He has the frame to support 308 and probably do it healthy because he's a very big man.
Yeah. How tall is he? Like 6'4"?
He might not be 6'4".
He's probably up 6'2", so he's probably 6'3".
6'3".
Yep.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Y'all are all tall to me. From where I stand, like
it's all the same.
It all evens out because of the angle. I can't tell.
There becomes a point where it's hard for me to judge.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, like when other tall people are in the room, like sometimes.
To me, it's just looking at the trees. You can't tell me which tree in the woods.
Chris Treese
because you're under them all.
Yeah, Chris Treese.
Yeah, he's big. Joey's big. I'm not used to looking up to people,
right?
Looking up at people, and I have to look up at both of them. So, all right, back to it. I'm sorry. Where were we in his line of questioning?
I just had one last one, and it's kind of just kind of more of a fun one than anything. But like, what do you do for like cheat meals?
So I don't have any.
Probably because
I just eat because food's not a reward for me.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I do eat ice cream. I eat the Ben & Jerry's dairy free.
Mm-hmm.
Chocolate chip cookie dough is very good.
They use oat milk.
I think it is oat milk.
I feel like it'd have to be because oat milk is like creamier than the other milks.
But that's good. But yeah, like I don't have like to reward myself for things. I don't. Food's not a motivator for me. So I don't really have cheat meals.
So you just kind of like, if you want something fun.
I would say probably like a Coke, a Coca-Cola, is something that I don't.
A full sugar Coke or a Coke Zero?
Like an actual Coke.
Oh man,
like a red label Coke.
I don't know if I could do a regular Coke these days.
So I don't drink a lot of that.
Yeah.
Because that's it is calories, but I mean, if I'm getting calories without, any protein at all, it's like, well, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And it's not like eating a good carb before or during a workout. Because I can't drink a Coke and then work out.
Right. You get
carbonation
sick.
just absolutely destroys me. So I would say like having a Coke with a nice Beyond Burger is probably as close to a cheat meal as I would get.
So you don't do like a vegan cheesecake or?
I do, yeah, absolutely. I love vegan cheesecake.
So you wouldn't consider that a cheat?
I would just
just
program it into my macros for that day. Yeah,
that's fair.
Absolutely.
That's fair.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Food is not a motivator for him.
Yeah.
That makes exactly one of us.
Yeah, for real. I get very excited about food.
Which is probably the most amount of people we've ever been around. It's not food motivator.
I'm just not a big food guy. I mean, and that's why I was so skinny growing up. I mean, because I'd eat food when I was hungry, and then I'd stop eating when I wasn't hungry anymore.
I was just skinny because I was tall and had a good metabolism. Yeah. That was it.
I mean, I think I also had a good metabolism, but I mean, I just eat if I was hungry, and that was it.
Oh man, I remember specifically one time I was around. We were like camping or something, and we had some pizza that we brought. And we were all eating, and I was just like, I'm so full, but there's another piece of pizza. And I just ate it, and everyone started laughing. And I was just like, and that felt sick. And I felt like I was going to die. But I was also like 12, 13.
But so that feeling is how I feel. Like when I'm bulking, I'll feel like that all day, every day.
Yep.
And I hate it. And I think that's part of why it's not a motivator for me, because when I eat a lot, I just feel bad.
Yeah.
And I don't like feeling bad. I mean, who does? But so when I have to hit, like closer to, 4,000, 4,500 calories, like when I'm actually trying to really put on weight, I just feel like trash nonstop. And part of that's probably because I have to eat so much more food.
Yeah, the volume
to get
of food.
Those calories.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel awful. So definitely no association of good feelings with eating for me.
I bet you take fat shits with all that fiber, though.
Oh my God. We should bring Amanda in here for that one. She's probably got some comments on it. I was actually joking with my friend earlier this week because I had to clean the toilet because I just destroyed it. And so I cleaned the toilet, and I was like, yeah, it's like a Tuesday afternoon, and I just got done cleaning the toilet. He was like, I said, my fiance is going to be so excited, that I'm cleaning the toilets. He was like, yeah, just don't tell her why. Just let her think that it was because you just wanted to. Don't tell her it's because you exploded all over everything.
Going back to being food motivated, I remember having a conversation with Nathan about his macros one time, and the argument was over whether or not he should eat full fat cheese or reduced fat or low fat cheese to help get his fat down in his diet. He was just straight up like, no, it'll come from somewhere else. It was like I'm not eating non-fat cheese on my fucking breakfast.
I've changed that. I did eat non-fat cheese and like a mix of egg whites and whole eggs for a little while, but now I'm just like, fuck it. My weight is not changing right now. I am like pulling back a meal at the end of the night, and I'm replacing it with a protein shake to cut the last 3 kilos for nationals, so that hopefully I don't have to do a water cut. But aside from that, like I've changed a little bit of, because non-fat cheese is worse than full fat cheese, but it's not that much worse. There's a different kind of texture when you cook it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, texture definitely changes.
Yeah, and as a vegan who's familiar with all different types of cheeses that aren't cheese, there are very few ways to simulate cheese that are tasty in any way whatsoever. Right. So a lot of times if it's like, we got this vegan cheese, I'm like, no, pass.
Right. I don't even care.
Cashew's common, right? Isn't it like cashew a big cheese base most of the time?
So cashew's really good for like an Alfredo sauce. But the fake cheese is usually just so sticky. Like it kind of tastes like cheese, like especially like on a vegan pizza or something. There's some brands that can do it. The best vegan cheeses that I found are from like local restaurants that are vegan restaurants, and the chef makes this simulated cheese. But as far as a company, there's very few brands that can really make a
Life without cheese, man. That seems
rough.
yeah.
I mean, hell, it sounds like it's even rough on companies.
Well, it's just like I like pizza. It's a good, easy thing to eat sometimes. But yeah, it's just not something that is very well simulated for a vegan. So I would just rather not.
Anything you miss? You're pretty serious about not missing much?
Yeah, the things that I miss aren't the food so much as the flavor. Like I like buffalo sauce. I don't miss do I miss like eating a steroid infused chicken wing that's as big as my leg? Like no.
That's fair.
Like,
That's fair. I know that's a really
I like
common
the
and
flavor
stupid question, but
yeah, I like the flavor of buffalo sauce. I like the flavor of wasabi. So
yeah,
I'll eat things that taste
wasabi
like
is
wasabi.
one of the greatest fucking things. On the planet. Goddamn.
I don't have to eat
You do the
salmon to eat wasabi.
You do the Blue Diamond wasabi soy sauce almonds.
I haven't tried those.
Oh my
there's
God.
there's a wasabi peas that I like a lot.
Yeah, I like wasabi peas a lot, but man, you got to get those Blue Diamond.
I've seen those before. I've never had them.
They're so
Give it a
fucking
shot.
good. Yep, so good. Not a vegan though, so don't take my recommendations anymore.
I don't
Just
give a
talk
shit
about
about
good
food, so don't
food.
take mine either.
Just
Food is not a motivator for me.
I'm very food motivated over here. I'm thinking about going by Publix and buy me some wasabi almonds.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I mean, back to my like you had asked about my what does an average day look like to you? Like, literally, I eat the same thing every day.
Yeah.
Like,
It's so hard for me to do.
It-
That's my
I
biggest
can-
hang up with meal prep.
I can do that too. Like 90% of the time, if I have like something that I am used to eating, especially
Right.
on work days. Work days are super easy for me
Right.
because it's like I go to work, I eat this on this break, I eat this when I get home, I eat this for breakfast.
Yep.
Your
I eat
day's
this when I get
structured
done.
and planned.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
and I just don't think about it.
I don't count my macros or my carbs or anything because I don't need to.
Yeah,
like,
it's already been counted.
I did it the one day,
Yeah, that's the convenient
and
thing
then I
about
just replicate that day.
it.
Yeah, that is a nice thing because I can tell you logging and tracking is something that's actually physically stresses me.
Yeah,
It does with a lot of clients too. That's not an uncommon complaint I hear. Like,
Well,
hey, this is
yeah,
this is
and-
stressful.
One thing I found too, and this is totally unrelated to me or veganism at all, but as a coach, I've found that my clients have no idea how much they eat,
Yeah,
and I'll do their intake, and they're like, "Yeah, I eat about 2,000 calories." And I'm like, "Okay, like for your first week, I don't want you to change anything. All I want you to do is just record everything that you eat, everything that goes into your body, just record it."
yeah,
And then they're like, "Oh, I eat 2,400 calories."
yeah.
Yeah.
like
Sauces
oh yeah,
bust them up, man.
yeah, you do. You absolutely do.
Yeah.
So we're not going to go down to a 1850
Yeah,
because
that's going to be
in
super
reality,
restrictive.
that's 2/3 of what you're actually
Yeah.
eating. So let's go to like 2250,
Yeah.
or maybe even 23,
yeah,
and then that seems to work better. And I've also found that regardless of what the diet is, if people look at the label before they eat, they tend to eat a lot less
yeah. Sure.
because they're looking at something going like, "Whoa,
The
like
serving size is not half the box.
this."
of cereal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's incredibly fruitful. I've done it with clients too. Like, hey, let's just find out what do you actually eat.
Right.
And I have a hard time with, I don't know how many like brand new people you get, but people brand new to the gym, brand new to a diet, they'll be like, "Oh, I really only eat one meal a day. I don't know why I'm so like this." They logged their one meal and they found out, that excursion to Logan's after work was, 3,500 calories in
Right.
sitting because they ate 4 rolls and ate the ribeye with a plate full of fries. Like,
Slathered in A1.
yeah. Now, now
Suddenly
we've gotten
things
to the
make
bottom of
sense.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody, a veteran,
Cheese fries with ranch. On the
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
I don't mind picking on Austin, but me and Austin were talking yesterday. We went down to Maverick together. We ate Mexican food afterwards, and we're all sitting in there eating. He's logging and tracking and doing pretty good. He's actually bulking into his weight class. But he's like, "Man, I went to Jack's the other day and got chicken fingers or something. Got comeback sauce, and they're like 250 calories a thing."
Like a sauce.
Yeah, he said he's like, "I haven't been logging and tracking my calories. Like I'm way like wasting calories on
Right.
Saucy.
things that like kind of like." Yeah, it makes things taste better, but like
How worth
diet
it is
wise, it's not like really worth it because it's just a fat bomb and there's like no protein, no carbs in it. And like he's like, there's times I eat, 750 to 1,000 calories in a sitting and sauce.
Yeah.
It's like,
Mustard has entered the chat.
it's eye opening though. Like people will say, "Oh, I eat 3 salads a day. I can't lose weight," and find out it's
A cup of ranch with each.
It's got fried
cup
chicken
of
on top of it,
cheese.
and it's a cup of ranch, and all the cheese is like, "Oh, no shit, you're not losing weight." Like the burger would have been less calories than that.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
fast food salads are like fucking evil.
Yeah.
Honest to God, like you could have just ate the fucking cheeseburger.
Yep.
You would have been happier. And you would have ate, half the calories. But,
And you would have eaten wet lettuce.
yeah, exactly. It's
Probably got more protein out of it too.
yeah,
to be honest
exactly.
with you.
It's kind of wild, but like people overeating, man, sauces just really fucking trip people up.
It's tasty. It's too tasty.
Yeah, I mean it is, but like, I ate everything you told me to. Great. What did you dip it in?
What did
I haven't
you
lost
do?
weight in 3 weeks. Okay. What did you really eat? Like you act like it's funny. Also, always so funny too. They act like I'm not gonna fucking know.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
It's like I've been doing this a long time. I know what your
I
calories
know how
should
calories in,
look
calories out work. Like,
Yeah, and that's something. Yeah, it's just calories in, calories out. That
Yeah.
and I mean, it's not that simple. I mean, because people have different metabolisms, and so figuring out what your calories out actually is hard. But calories in is pretty easy.
Yeah.
You just count it. And if your calories in were the same as they were last week, but you lost weight last week and you didn't this week, something's different.
I had a conversation with a girl this week. It's like weight loss calories because she's not sedentary. She's actually pretty active. We're pretty high. They're like 1,900, 2,000 calories, something like that. A pretty good bit of food for a lady, especially of her stature. She's like, there's no way I can eat this much. And taking a page out of your book was like, well, eat the food, drink your drinks, but when you go to Starbucks, she's a big Starbucks person. I'm like, when you go to Starbucks in the morning, I want you to log the drink that you buy. And it was like fucking 600 calories.
Mm-hmm.
for that one
Like,
coffee.
You didn't eat that much before, but you drank it all.
Yeah.
Right.
like that still counts. Like, and then even alcohol, people don't
Mhm.
want to log and track. They think that unless you drink till you puke, alcohol is not calorie free. I'm sorry, I
Right.
don't know what to tell you, but like, you're gonna have to be honest with me about like, what are you actually consuming? Let's change the word eat. Like, what are you actually ingesting?
Yeah, everything that goes in your mouth.
Dude, I've had men lose weight by swapping from sweet tea to Diet Mountain Dew.
Yep.
Like, because you don't have 2,000 calories worth a gallon of fucking sweet tea in
Yeah.
your diet anymore. Like, congratulations. Like,
Is what it is.
it is. One thing I like to do with guests, man, is I feel like you're a really good example. You've been a positive influence on my life for sure. Not to kiss a whole lot of ass, but
No, please go
you
ahead.
do. You do make me think about things differently. I mean, you do have a good working relationship that we can generally talk about anything. I had an ethical issue pop up this week that I text Lance about. Me and Lance have a lot of conversations about things we don't talk about on this podcast, like political stuff in general. But what would you say? Well, let me explain a little bit more. There's a big gap between what we do, because I grew up a musician, and what we do now as powerlifters, right? I feel like there is people that are involved in the arts and people that are involved in lifting. They're like kind of have always, like, for whatever reason, naturally kind of been at odds with one another. And I don't find that to be true anymore in my old age and my old wisdom. I mean, what would you say? I feel like, as a musician, I used to kind of get shit on for wanting to be a meathead.
Mm-hmm.
And then now that I'm kind of a meathead, my musician buddies are like, why don't you play anymore? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? But like, both those things are still an enormous part of my life. But I mean, what would you say about young kids in the music scene that, like, I don't know, how would you motivate them and make them say, hey, this is a good idea for me too? Like, not necessarily lifting heavy, but like fitness in general. Because I mean, there's a lot of opinions on both sides of that coin. Like, people that are really big into sports and fitness and stuff like that don't necessarily listen to the same music that we do. And they definitely don't play the same music that we do, even if they listen to it. So what would you say that kind of bridges the gap between young kids in the hardcore scene that might want to get into this and vice versa? You know what I mean?
So especially locally, a lot of the younger guys, in the scene know who I am. Because I'm an older guy that shows up and mosh and I stage dive and run around acting like a crazy person. And I'm 42. I don't look 42. I look like I'm in my 30s probably. Thanks to the vegan straight edge. But I mean, I'm a full grown adult, but I can go out and I can have fun and I can run around and act crazy and don't get, I don't hurt my back, jumping off a stage. And so I would say, longevity, you're not going to be young forever. But you could get pretty damn close by powerlifting. There are people, in their 80s that are powerlifting, and they walk great. Obviously, when you introduce, PEDs, things like that, you start getting into, where you really have to watch your joints, watch your, all your ligaments, etc., and your heart. But generally, I mean, lifting heavy on its own, regardless of if you're a vegan or not, is going to have insane benefits as you grow up, as you age. And you see older guys a lot more now, still in bands, playing that kind of music, that are in shape, that are on stage in their 40s and their 50s. And that's because they lift weights. You don't see guys that don't lift. I mean, there's guys like Keith Richards that are just anomalies, that are just genetic mistakes, that just smoke and drink and never do anything, and they manage to stay healthy forever. But I mean, there's a lot of guys that are in bands that were around when I was in high school that are still out there playing, and they look good, and they sound great, and it's because they lift weights. It's because they exercise. Like I said at the beginning, I got into lifting heavy because I hurt my back carrying a bucket of rocks. I don't have to worry about that.
Right.
I'm 10 years older now, and I've not hurt my back carrying a bucket of rocks yet.
Yeah.
I just moved to gym yesterday. I mean, do I feel it? Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah.
It was heavy stuff. I was carrying 100-pound plates. But am I injured? No.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I just feel like, there's definitely a time in my life where that part of me was at odds with the person that I am now, I guess, you know what I mean? Like, those two things, at one time I didn't feel like these two things were synonymous, and now I kind of feel like they're very, very much a part of each other, you know what I mean? Like,
I think
even down to the music that I listen to, like, influences what I do in the gym.
Especially on the hardcore side. I mean, I think that it's become less of, hardcore's influenced by punk. Hardcore came from punk rock. And there was always, the punk versus jocks thing.
Yeah.
Like you said, I mean, but I played soccer in high school. I guess it was jock. But I think that now more, people are looking at lifting weights as not a thing that jocks do, but a thing that people do.
Sure, yeah.
And so I think that there's less of a jock association with just lifting weights, and more of a hey this guy, this guy's singing songs about fighting people,
Right.
and he looks like he could probably beat your ass too.
Yeah.
Like
It's part of the aesthetic almost now.
I mean, like you mentioned Kublai Khan. Like, I'm not a huge fan of theirs, but Inger's not a skinny dude.
No, he's a pretty buff little
I mean,
shit.
hell, look at Harm's Way.
Yeah,
I mean,
that dude's super
that
jacked,
dude's
by the
huge.
way.
he's got a profile on open powerlifting.
Yeah.
Like, he's legitimately big, and he's a powerlifter. So yeah, there's definitely more of a crossover now than there used to be.
It was just at one point in my life, there was just like, that's what those people do, and this is what we people do, and that's
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at like Slayer, back then, or Metallica, they're just skinny dudes.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
But now, like, if you look at a lot of metal bands, like who that I mentioned, I guess Kublai Khan and Harm's Way are both hardcore bands, but they're more metallic hardcore. But I mean, yeah, those are
I mean, yeah, it's
they're
cool.
large.
Alex the Terrible.
Yeah,
fucking
Alex
great.
is terrible.
He's big.
huge guy.
Not like he's not more jacked than the Harm's Way guy. I forget
Right, I mean,
his
he's-
name.
No,
but
he's not. But
But he's still big.
He's very lean, and he's very
and he also fights fucking bears.
yeah.
Like,
yeah. There's not you could yeah. I mean, that's a good word.
he's a nut
Yeah,
job.
I think it's just kind of funny how it's come full circle though. Like, this is something I never would have been involved in.
Mhm.
And now almost the music that I've been involved in my whole life means more now to me that I am involved in this other side of life, and it's all kind of come full circle in a strange way. But there was definitely a time that I just didn't like I said, just two different walks of life and never
Yeah.
would have put them together. And I feel like now more and more with myself and everybody else, it's that way. So any other advice you want to give people?
No, I mean, honestly, like lift weights. It's good for you. It's. I mean, I doubt that anyone listening to this podcast
Doesn't.
but yeah, I mean, there's so many benefits. I mean, I think the biggest thing that I learned CPT and I was briefly studying kinesiology is the benefits of as we age, as we become, elderly, quote unquote, the fighting osteoporosis, fighting Alzheimer's. I mean, there's so many benefits of putting your central nervous system through tests and trials and teaching it to persevere and push through that are beyond hitting a specific number, but it's good for you.
I know me and Nathan's answering this because we talked about it. We've had whole episodes dedicated to this, but has it changed you mentally?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think my confidence is incredibly more. Now, I was at my most jacked before I ever started powerlifting, when I was doing Hollywood stuff. Knowing that I can lift what I lift is a good confidence boost, and so not, and I'm still working on it, and I think everyone is always working on it, but not giving up when something's hard, and not saying
Never
this is
mind.
bullshit, I can't do this. Like I'm not like, why am I even trying?
Yeah, I think that there's a certain section of people that maybe don't know better, but think that the ability to just not give up and to not quit is just something that some people have and some people don't. And really, it's actually a muscle that needs to be trained in and of itself. Like the more often you put yourself, not necessarily in harm's way, but in difficult situations, the better you are at dealing with difficult situations. And like lifting weights is just a physical manifestation of that, a physical representation of that. But it really does help me deal with other things better.
Yeah, and I think things that I've learned, in powerlifting, like I should be able to triple my opener. So what do? Like I triple my opener a couple weeks before my meet. That way you walk in and it's there's nothing to worry about.
Right.
Like, I know I'm gonna go in there and do something that I can do 3 of. Like, so the lift isn't something that I'm stressed about. There's a lot of things to be stressed about at a meet. So I want to reduce the amount of things, and learning how to give myself confidence in various ways is one thing that I have learned from powerlifting, and learning that I can minimize the external things.
Sure.
That translates to minimizing external issues elsewhere.
Yeah, 100%. Nathan, you got anything to add?
I don't got nothing.
Dad jokes?
We can do some dad jokes.
Okay, so
You got one on the cuff.
since it's Halloween, so this guy, he's a traveling salesman. He goes to this town, and he's selling vacuum cleaners. Stops at a hotel. He's like, "Hey, do you have any rooms left?" Well, technically yes, but I'm not supposed to rent it to anybody. The guy's like, "What's going on here? Why not?" And she's like, "Well, it's haunted." And he's like, I don't believe in that crap. Come on, I'm tired. It's like 1 a.m. Just let me stop and get a room." She's like, "Okay, but look, if you hear anything, no matter what you do not open the closet." He's like, "Just don't open the closet no matter what you hear." And the guy's like, "Okay, fine, whatever." So it goes up, room 13, of course. Lays down, goes to sleep. About 1 a.m, he hears this dud, 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 dud coming from the closet. He's like, "God, this sucks." Tries to go back to sleep. Dud, 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 dud. He keeps trying. He keeps trying to sleep. Can't fall asleep. It's just too loud. So he swings open the door. There's a coffin standing upright in the middle of the door, just standing there. He's like, "What on earth?" And he goes to open it, and the coffin starts jumping at him. Dud, 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 dud. So the whole coffin's just jumping, and he backs up, and the coffin follows him. Dud, 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 dud. Out into the room. He opens the door, runs down the stairs. He turns around. Here comes the coffin. Dud, dud, dud. Coffin's chasing him. He runs out the door. The lady's like, I told you not to open the damn closet. Here comes the coffin after him. Dut, dut. So he runs down the street. Dut, dut, dut. Here comes the coffin right behind him. So he sees a drugstore, and he runs in, and he grabs a bottle of Robitussin. Here comes the coffin. Dut, dut, dut. He drinks Robitussin as fast as he can, and the coffin stops.
God damn it. The long setup.
That's not where I expected that to go. I thought I knew this joke, but I did not.
I gotta get mine first because I'm afraid you're gonna tell it. What do you call a helpful lemon?
A helpful lemon?
Yeah. Lemonade.
Hey guys, sorry for the interruption. I had to record this after the fact. I don't know what happened to the audio for the last 5-ish minutes of this episode. So we don't really have an outro. So this is me doing the outro. Thanks, Lance, for coming on the podcast. Sorry, it was a little hectic, a little crazy. There's a bunch of stuff going on. You can follow us at Coleman_Barbell, at Nathan Skedios, at Sip and Rip It. You can follow Lance at yes_it's_Lance. You can find us on YouTube, subscribe, like, share, subscribe, do all those things. I guess that's it. Bye, y'all.